Welcome to the LegalTube podcast, presented by LawyerLocate.ca. Join us as we explore the latest trends, strategies, and tools for promoting your legal practice in the digital age. Hosted by Mark Robbins, CEO of LawyerLocate.ca, LegalTube, and Digital MSpace, where we're all about legal marketing online for Canadian lawyers. Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is episode 19 of the LegalTube podcast. And today, my guest, I'm really excited to let you know that my guest today is Matt Fleischer. He is an ads and digital marketing specialist and expert. I've known Matt for, probably more than 5 years in a different part of digital life. We'll talk about that maybe later. But anyway, Matt, welcome to the show.
Hello. Nice to be here. Very good to be here.
So, Matt, tell my audience a little bit about yourself so that we can start to see where we're going with this conversation.
Sure. So I'm a marketing and ad specialist. I do a variety of marketing. So that could be anywhere from local businesses to online sales, affiliate marketing, all kinds of stuff like that. I have a background in SEO and really just, after COVID, I got very deep into marketing because it was very interesting to me and I had a lot of time on my hands and it just bit me, and something I'm very interested in and very passionate about now. And I'm just excited to be here and talk marketing with you. I think that's fun.
Okay. Perfect. So as you know, LegalTube, it kind of stands out what we do in Canada. It's sponsored by LawyerLocate.ca, which is an online legal directory and legal referral service that's designed to help lawyers connect with clients and clients to connect with lawyers. That's our primary business. And the vertical market in the legal market in Canada is somewhat different. Well, not somewhat, it's very different to the legal market in the States. LawyerLocate targets specifically sole practitioners and small boutique firms because they're the ones that have maybe not the financial ability like a big national law firm would have to market their practice. So we work hard at trying to educate our clients, we call them members because you become a member of LawyerLocate.ca, on all aspects of, right from the beginning of showing them how their profile works and why that will generate some activity and will generate visitors and that will click through or will reach out by other telephone or email to contact that lawyer and see. And then we do a referral service. And the referral service, you can come on our website. You're looking for a lawyer in Toronto. You've got a lawsuit from New York. You can go there, and on our website, every page, it has a find me a free referral at the top right-hand side. Click on that. There's a form comes up. You briefly describe your legal matter. We'll process it out to lawyers in that geographic area in the area of law you're looking for. And we drill down to the 8 major categories of law and over 200 subcategories of law because the practice of law today has become very, very specialized. And it will go out to several lawyers. So you'll get contacted by more than one lawyer. So the idea there is you find the right fit for you financially and emotionally. Like if it's a family law matter, that it's important to find a lawyer that actually will work with you and understands your problems. So that's kind of the background of where we're at. So what we want to do, Matt, you and I, and from our conversations, is we want to come up and develop a system that we can help these sole practitioners and small boutique lawyers and teach them how to market their practice and get them clients. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure. I mean, look, when you're on your own, it's very difficult. It can be extremely overwhelming. It's something I've gone through myself when I first started out. And there's a lot of voices in the room telling you to do this or that or whatever it is. It can be extremely overwhelming, like what to actually do. And I think what we're trying to do is we're trying to systematize it so that it's something that is accessible to anybody that's running a law practice. Like if you just need to grow your business, you need to get people calling you. That's kind of what you and I are really interested in getting going, because I think that's really the baseline for any business, especially if you're a lawyer or whatever it is that you do. But you need calls coming in. So before anything else, you need a call or you need, some kind of lead. And marketing is the way to do it. People need to know that you exist. People need to know how to get a hold of you. And people really need to see that they can trust you, that you're going to deliver whatever your law practice is, and that you have positive testimonials and people actually, want to use you and that kind of stuff.
Okay, so let's take a deeper dive into it. So we get a lot, we have sole practitioners. We'll use that as kind of the example here. So I'm talking to a sole practitioner who's a member of Lawyer Locate, and he's going, well, what can I do to get more business? How do I track business? So one of the things that we've leaned into recently in the last few years is video. I'm a firm believer that we've gone away from content is king in the sense of the written content. I don't believe it moves the needle as much as it used to. The reason I have LegalTube, I bought that URL almost 20 years ago because I remember Natalie, my partner, said, well, what do you want that for? And I said, trust me, the future is video. And I've had arguments with all kinds of content people over the years have said, no way, no way. Kevin O'Keefe, who runs a company called LexBlog, which is a blogging aggregate company, he and I became very good friends. He's a big influencer in my vertical in the States. And he and we were at a function in Toronto, and he brought up and I said to him, what are you going to do in the next 10 years when everybody's on YouTube? It's not going to happen. I said, well, it's going to happen. And how will you adapt LexBlog into a video platform? Because that's the only way it's going to go. Lo and behold, he argued it didn't happen. But sure enough, 5 years ago, there's Kevin O'Keefe has now got his own podcast. And he's doing video content all over the place. So when we're talking to our lawyers or even not our lawyers, people that come to our company just looking for advice, I do tend to push video in a big way. But I've also pushing them into multi-platform, meaning you've got to do content for all platforms. In my opinion, you can't just say, I'm going to have my YouTube channel and that'll be it. People aren't going to find you. And you and I, let's talk about here's where we get. Now we get to the shorts. And you have a really interesting opinion about the value of shorts and the lack of value of shorts. So maybe we can get into that a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, I would just to back up on the content is king thing. I don't believe that content is king. I believe that there's no first of all, there's no shortage of content, right? There's so much out there. It's actually an overload of content. The shortage is on helpful content that actually focuses on the end user and what they need to fix, right? So usually there's a problem that they need to fix, and then you can provide a video as the solution. And that's really like the SEO part of my brain working there, because people are looking for a specific thing online. Like, yes, they might be just browsing and looking for entertainment, but it's a missed opportunity if you're not actually thinking of it in terms of like, how can I actually help somebody? If you're a divorce lawyer, what are the steps that you need to go through to initiate a divorce or to defend yourself during that process? Or, what goes on before, middle, and after that process? It's really, really important. And if you take a look online, you'll see that those videos tend to get a lot of views. To touch on the shorts aspect, shorts are great, but you kind of have to think of them as like TikTok style, very fast, very surface level content, right? Because a short, I don't know what your limitation is here for my account. It's about 90 seconds, but it's very difficult to get value across in a very short amount of time. There's definitely people that do it, but being able to really help that viewer, I believe, unless you're extremely skilled, it takes longer time. It takes a longer form conversation to get things going. So shorts to me is not nearly as valuable in terms of views because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're getting new members or new clients from it or new subscribers or really growing the base. Yes, the metrics look good because you might get 10,000 views, but if it's not equating to an actual conversion being a sale, then it's not really doing its job.
Okay, so let's really dive in a little bit here, and I'm going to do the name bomb drop here. Gary Vee, everybody knows him. You know who Gary Vee is. I follow
Yeah.
him. I agree sometimes with his philosophies, and more often than not, I disagree vehemently with his philosophies. I think he's changed direction. I met Gary Vee 18 years ago at a function in Toronto at the Royal York Hotel. Him and Danny Brown and Jeannie Dietrich were a lot of the influencers that were putting on a program. But one of the things that sticks with me with Gary, and I do go back and forth on it. I really want to hear your thoughts on this. But he said, if you're not posting 30 pieces of content a day, you're wasting your time. What are your thoughts?
It's unsustainable. It's not possible. I mean, a lot of people these days, if you look on, especially on YouTube, people are making a lot of AI generated content. And in my opinion, it's very lazy to do that because unless you're able to get the engagement, if you could get the engagement, then hats off to you. But people aren't looking for that. They're looking for a connection and they're looking for meaningful stuff. So yeah, you can go and make 30 videos a day and you will get traction. And to truth be told, if you're starting from zero, you might have to start with that mentality of I'm going to post 5 times a day and I'm going to do 8 weeks of that and I'm going to dedicate myself to showing up every day and just being persistent. That's absolutely key. Like you do have to be persistent in this kind of stuff. 30 pieces of content a day, I don't think you need to do that. I think if you're making content that is very, very specific to solve a specific problem, you can get a lot more leverage out of smaller amounts of content. You can put out one really good video, do a lot of good research, give a ton of good value, and lean into that as much as you can. And if the video flops, that's where you have to show up again and try a different angle and, work with it. There's a lot of
So,
factors.
so when we look at this vertical, this Canadian legal vertical, um, if I say sole practitioner, even a small boutique, and what we mean by a boutique firm up here, our definition, that would be 3 to 4 lawyers that come together and form an LLP. So they're not in the same company, but they're coming together to share the overheads and share the costs and share the clients. And they try to, have different disciplines. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Those are the groups we're trying to help. This is where we want to take and help. So no sole practitioner is going to have the time to practice law and do 30 videos. He'd be lucky if he can get a video a week out. And that makes sense to me. So I agree with you that the idea, and we do this, we produce a show called Fire Away, which is a Canadian employment law lawyer. We've been doing it for, I guess we're up to almost 10 seasons, so 10 years. And it's evolved, and now there's more of the content that comes out of Fire Away is about giving information to the public, like guiding them through different situations that have occurred. Like we had a field day during COVID with all the stuff that affected employment law from the employer side and from the employee side. So there was a shit ton of really good content that's out there. And you're right. The stuff where we're giving advice gets a lot more real traction, and we get Rudner Law is getting clients as a result of his YouTube channel and all the social media platforms. And we do try, when we're doing the shorts with we try to target just the sections where he's giving some advice or the guest is giving some advice. But that's, for us, that's great because that's what we do. But for the small lawyer, the sole practitioner, how's he going to get that? How is he going to self-produce a podcast?
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to be willing to play with the technology a little bit. There's a lot of people that just don't touch it. And that's also your opportunity because so many people just don't want to bother. But it's the difficult things in life that when you lean into those difficult things, usually there's not a lot of competition. So, I think what you can do is you can do it very simply. You can, if you have a website, you could put up a blog post that runs through, like with the divorce example earlier. You could put up a blog post that's really helpful and put together a PDF or an ebook or some kind of guide that literally shows the people what they need, right? You could do it like that. You can do it with a blog post on a different site. Like you could do guest blogging. You could post on Reddit. You can post on social media. You don't necessarily need a degree in producing a video, sitting down for hours at a time and understanding how all this tech works. Like there are low tech ways to do it. And also you can always hire it out. You can always get somebody else to read a script for you, put together a little script, use AI to help you build the script. Just make sure it's correct, make sure it's actually good advice.
Yeah.
That's on you. But there are shortcuts into figuring this stuff out. But I would say that, short of, putting out 30 videos a day is kind of crazy. But again, it's better. Personally, I would rather wait 3 months and not produce a video and then put out a really good video that I know is going to hit, because that 45 minutes that I had to put into the video, I'm thinking of one that I did yesterday, actually. That's all you need. You just need a couple good pieces of content. It's not about quantity.
Okay, so here's the counterpunch to that one. I think, and we've done this with other lawyers and that are afraid. And the one thing I want to say anecdotally, which I find highly amusing, these are most lawyers, not litigators per se, but certainly courtroom lawyers, family law lawyers. They're used to standing up and talking. They're used to, winging a lot of stuff up. And I'm always surprised when I have them on guests on my show or guests on shows I produce, the ones that are just really nervous and really reluctant to talk into the camera. And that's one of the things that we have to help lawyers to overcome. Don't be afraid of the technology. Now, my pushback to you is, I would still say, get your iPhone. If you don't have a camera on your desktop or on your laptop, get your iPhone out, get a stand, and start talking. And start talking
Absolutely.
about how I can help you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, with your family law. Are you aware that there's been changes to the Family Law Reform Act in Ontario, as an example? Criminal lawyers. This to me is a boon for criminal lawyers. And if we could teach criminal lawyers very easily how to raise their profile in 2-minute increments.
Absolutely.
I know you don't like shorts, but in 2 minutes, you can deliver a hell of a lot of information. And the fact is, and you know this too, Matt, the reason TikTok has gone crazy, the reason YouTube Shorts has gone crazy is because people's attention span is about that. And that's a problem. And you have to me, I think I agree long form is the better way. But I look at shorts as a way to drive to the long form. So I give you a taste of something you're interested in. And then you say, well, wait. Like, you and I are going to say at some point during this podcast, we're going to talk about our future plan. We're going to do a series of these episodes. And we're also going to be setting up for some private training that people can sign up, lawyers, not people, lawyers specifically in Canada can sign up for. It's not going to cost anything, but it'll be specific techniques that we're going to teach you to help raise your profile. Let's talk a little bit about that, Matt.
Sure. I just want to touch on what you just said, because I agree. No, I do agree. I'm not going to say that long form is better than X, Y, or Z. It depends on what your business is. It depends on what's working. Like, you have to look at the data, and every decision that you make as a business owner needs to be following the data always. So right. If short form's working and you're doing a ton of shorts and people are going to your website because maybe you have a little caption in there that says the website, or you're directing people to go somewhere or call a number, whatever. If it's working, roll with it. By all means, you should roll with it. I'm not advocating to change that. I think what you're talking about is absolutely true. What was your last question?
Well, I said, we're kind of leading up to where we're going to go with this series. And I want to maybe let people know, let the lawyers know that are following my podcast, and just general public, if you've got a lawyer in your family in Canada and he's trying to raise, his practice, and, a Lawyer Locate tagline was, working to make your legal connections.
Yeah.
We used to market when we first started 25 years ago. It was working to increase your billable hours, but you can understand that that didn't really fly well with the general public, because we're marketing to two sides of that coin, right? We're
Right.
marketing to the public to get them to come in to use the service, and we're marketing to the lawyers to join the service, because the lawyers pay us, the public use the service for free. And that's always been the model that was created by Natalie Waddell, the founder. But I want to get to where we're going to try to, you know, get to a point where we can get lawyers to sign up for what we're going to have another area, whether it be in YouTube, or we haven't quite determined what will be the easiest platform. I suspect it'll be YouTube, but where you'll be able to have access to private material that we're going to produce and put out to help you raise your image, raise your profile online, increase your digital footprint, so that clients that are looking, and they're looking online. I mean, that's, nobody's going to newspapers anymore because they don't exist. Yellow Pages hasn't existed for over 20 years now. So where are they finding lawyers? And, I remember, just anecdotally, I got to share this. The founder, Natalie Waddell, I remember she was being interviewed by a legal newspaper in Toronto. And they asked her, like, well, where did you come up with this idea? And she says, from personal experience. Which, hey, don't all the great ideas come from something that you went through? So she said, well, I was going through my divorce, and I was stuck really early. Like, who do I talk to? I don't want to tell my family right at this point. I don't want to talk to them how do I get a lawyer? I'm not going to go to friends, because I'm not sure, after we go through this, which friends are mine, which friends are his, which friends are both of us. The Law Society's free referral program has a bad reputation. So she didn't know what to do, right? So she said, there's got to be a gap in this market. And there clearly was, because we wouldn't be around for 25 years if it wasn't. So it's those types of things that lawyers have got to try to understand, that people need to be able to see you. And one of the things, and I keep referring to Lawyer Locate, and it's not because of self-promotion, but I think there's important lessons that we've learned in 25 years of Lawyer Locate. For example, we give our lawyers a huge profile page. It's basically a mini website. You can have video content on there, YouTube content, anything you want, blogs. It's all there, all your practice stuff. But what we noticed early on, the lawyers that just didn't want to give a picture, they would just put a logo, got less traffic than the lawyers that put their picture up, right? And it's the same thing here. Go ahead.
No, absolutely. That's key. The key thing with marketing and marketing yourself is putting your face to your business. A lot of people are so shy, and you kind of have to, like, get over yourself, because nobody cares. Because nobody cares. I struggled with anxiety talking on camera. I'm not comfortable doing it either. Now I am, because I just do it. You just have to do it. And yeah, the what you're touching on in terms of talking a little deeper and getting some kind of private call together, I think that's really a good opportunity to have kind of like an arena where people can ask questions and get like that personalized help of, this is my situation, I'm really not sure what to do, I've tried advertising, it doesn't work, or advertising's really expensive. There are tactics and methodologies to getting that price down, to getting the exposure and getting better leverage with less. It's not about, I'll just give an example. I run meta ads for clients and for myself. And, one of the things that a lot of people, if you ever on Reddit, people are always complaining how expensive it is and how difficult it is to get a conversion. Especially in the law arena, those prices are exorbitant, because they're paying per click, or they're paying, especially if you're searching on Google for a specific keyword, you could be paying $600 a click. That's literally what it is. So you're trying to, like, compete with the big dogs, and you probably can't. But I think what you and I can get deeper in on is talking about how to get around that, because there's different retargeting techniques and different ways that you can come in at pennies on the dollar and warm up an audience and kind of just show them who you are, what you're about, what your offer is. You could show that you're a family lawyer. You could show that you have personal skin in the game, whatever it is that makes you stand out. And you can do it for a lot less. And I think showing lawyers that you can do advertising without absolutely gutting your business, that you can build a very simple website, putting small, helpful pieces of content together. You can make small videos and put them up as shorts or long form videos, or start a social media platform, or account. You can do all of this stuff, and I think people get so scared by I got to make 30 pieces of content,
Yeah.
or I got to like spin up a whole studio, a whole
Yeah.
production and everything. And it's like, you really don't need to do that. You said it exactly right. You just need a little phone stand like this. It goes
Yeah.
on my monitor, and my phone snaps to it, and you can make a video. It's so easy. Everybody has a phone. You spend $5 on a stand and get going. There's no excuse.
So let's ask the audience something. So if you were able to attend a Zoom room that was private, say 10 lawyers, 10 Canadian lawyers, and you could attend that Zoom room with Matt and myself, and you could ask us questions, and we will answer anything you ask. There'd be no holdback. There's no smoke and mirrors. Would that be of interest to you? So what I'd like you to do, folks, is let us know in the comments. Whatever platform you're watching this on, whether you're watching it as a podcast, or listening to it as a podcast, or you're watching it on YouTube, or any of the social media when we put out some short versions of this, let us know in the comments if it's of interest to you. And if it's of interest to you, reach out. Well, all my contact information is in the descriptions. It'll be at the bottom. Same with Matt. All of Matt's information will be available to you. So let us know if this would be of interest to you, because we think we're going to be able to offer a real valuable service that's not going to cost you any money. So I know I'm an old guy, and my father, who was much older than me, obviously, he always told me, you get nothing for nothing. Well, it's changed a little bit, because what do we want back? I want you to see what Lawyer Locate can bring to the table as part of your marketing strategy. So yeah, there's value for us. So we're not giving you a bunch of BS, but we're saying, here's what we're going to do. It's the same advice that we've just been talking about, that we'll give to lawyers. If you're going to do content where you're giving something to the potential client. So we're doing the same thing. We want to give you something to potentially get you interested in the rest of our services. That makes sense?
Absolutely. And the thing is, the name of the game is, we're here to help, right? So
Right.
we are trying to help you guys build your businesses. How do you, literally, what can you do to get calls in the door? What can you do to expand your business? If you're spending a lot of time doing things that are repetitive or annoying, what can you do to get that time back? Your time, especially lawyers, like you guys bill for every minute of your time.
Right.
It's really important. So if you're wasting your time trying to figure stuff out, and you're not sure where to go or what to do, and you're watching tons of YouTube videos and you're getting nowhere, then I think this call is going to be helpful for you, because you could just ask us live on the call. We'll do our best to answer and help you guys out.
And again, I want to reiterate, this isn't just one aspect, meaning it's not just about Lawyer Locate and our marketing service. It's also about Matt and what Matt brings to the table. So, if you need help with your advertising, and you need help with your marketing, that's outside of maybe our scope, Matt's the guy that you're going to talk to. So you're going to have access to two people that are experts in their fields. We are, I believe, the most complete Canadian legal directory and referral service that's a proven track record for 25 years with LawyerLocate.ca. And I believe that Matt can bring the same level of expertise in his areas, because Lawyer Locate is not an expert in digital advertising. That's not our strength. That is Matt's strength. So we've come together kind of in a backhanded way, and maybe in one of the future episodes we'll talk more about how this all kind of came together. But everybody remember that it's not just one thing we're trying to tell you about or help you with, and it's not just about driving Lawyer Locate down your throat. It's about helping you get more clients and increase your billable hours. That's what the whole purpose of our lessons are going to be. If you want to call them lessons, talks, whatever the latest, greatest phrase is to describe what we're going to try and do with you or for you.
Exactly. I mean, look, we're here to help, and and what we're doing with this call and what we're talking about doing is literally what we think you should be doing for your clientele, right? Like it's the same thing. There's no difference. It's just like, how can you provide value? How can we provide value for you? Help you guys, because the better that you guys do, you know, you're gonna be inclined to send this YouTube channel around to your friends and say, hey, go check them out. They're really good. They're really helpful. Blah blah blah. Same thing for your business. So if you're, you know, providing that value, helping people out, they're going to naturally want to send business your way because you're going to be undeniably helpful. And it's really about putting forth that expertise that you guys have and showing people that you know it, and then proving it with testimonials, stuff like that. And people are going to come back and want to do business with you.
Right. And you know, another thing that I could point out to listeners and the viewers is, if you want to get a sense of what we do, you can go to LegalTube's YouTube channel, and you can see where I've had guests that were actually members of LawyerLocate.ca, and the process of having them as a guest, which was also a marketing technique that we were using, is it gives them a platform to talk about their practice. It gives them a platform, and I talk about this a lot with lawyers up here. It humanizes you. It takes away the mystique. You don't need your suit and tie when you're a guest on LegalTube. I want people to get to know who you are outside of your law practice. What are you into? What do you like to do? What sports are you? That stuff is crucial, and it's so valuable because once it's out there, it's not going away. And people forget that. You know, with Fire Away, what we've talked about, you know, we used to shoot that live, because everybody, oh, live. And after a while, I said, you know what? I don't think we need the live. I don't think that's doing it for us. What I think we need is that video content library growing. And sure enough, the library is huge, and it's getting, I've got people looking at episodes that are 8 years old this week. So they're going back looking for information. So there's the value of building a YouTube channel properly and having that library, and in the space of the legal area of having a library of help videos. That's huge, because everybody, absolutely. We know, Matt, you know this probably better than I do, but I'm going to step out and say YouTube is now the #1 search engine. I don't believe for a minute that Google has the power that they say they have anymore, because they know that they bought YouTube for a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
The demographic of, you know, 15 to 50, nobody wants to read. I don't like it. Natalie Waddell gets upset because I'm guilty. I will go, if I need to repair something, I will go to YouTube and watch the video. Exactly. Right? Natalie says, no, I'll go to the manufacturer and I'll pull up the manual and I'll read it. So, you know,
I will do both, but I usually go for the video because look, people don't have a lot of time. They gotta get stuff done. And if you can just cut to the chase, get in a 30-second short, show somebody how to fix something, right? You win. You win. And you're absolutely right about the library. I have a couple channels myself, unrelated to this business, that earns me, I do affiliate marketing on the side as well.
Right.
And that's how I started. And, you know, I've got a channel that I started I would say I really started putting together the content in 2020 through 2024 is when I went really hard on it. It still earns me money every day. I don't do anything.
Nice.
It's just people going back to those videos because they're helpful and because they're on topics that people care about. And I give the helpful information in it, and I say, hey, by the way, you need a part, or you need XYZ. Click here. You can read more about it. People go there, they read more about it, and guess what? They end up purchasing from you. So
exactly,
you know, it's like a flywheel. Once you start, you got to get the pieces in place, and then start turning it.
Right.
And as it goes, it will pick up speed. It's just a matter of showing up and doing the hard work.
Right. So again, in these Zoom rooms, whatever we want to call them, these private streaming meetings that we're willing to do and put up there, we're going to cover all of this stuff in a lot more detail. And again, like Matt said, whatever you ask us within our specialties, we're going to be prepared to answer. in detail. And, we'll tell you, you want to record this? That's fine with us. You want to record it so you can reference it back? That's fine. Whatever we do will ultimately down in time end up publicly available. But initially, this will be private to only the people that want to learn about how to market your legal practice cost effectively. And I emphasize cost effectively. Lawyer Locate never, ever, ever has bought a Google AdWord campaign. We've never done it. Natalie Waddell happens to be a Google expert, and we certainly do AdWord campaigns for our clients, for our lawyers, but we never in 25 years ever had to do that. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't know. I believe strongly in organic search result over paid search result. Matt, I'll let you jump in if you've got a different opinion on that. I want to hear it.
I do. Well, look, again, every business is different. Everything that you're doing is different. So, if this is what's working for your business, and you got to roll with it. But I'm always open. I try to be open-minded about this stuff and try to be like, what is going to get the result that I want? So, I had a client once. He was dead set on doing organic only, and it just wasn't working for him. And he was fighting against Google Maps, which is a whole other beast.
Don't even go there.
And he had competition paying for ads. They were paying like $60 a click, and he just struggled really, really hard. And I went to him and I was like, "Look, man, what you're doing is not working. It's not working. You gotta pivot. You gotta try something else." I just didn't want to listen, and
right.
Unfortunately is struggling. As last seen. That's just the way it goes. But there's not anything that's better. But there's other cases where you might run an ad, and I just had this over Black Friday weekend where my client, she's like 33x her money, which is insane.
Right.
So if you're going to put in 300 and you get back 10,000, well, maybe ads work, you got to be willing to like test and iterate, make changes, test, look at the data, all that stuff. It's just part of that process. And, I'd be lying if I said that we just hit it on the head the first time. It took time. It took a few months to dial things in.
So I want to come back to Google Maps because it's a interesting and a sore spot with me personally and with our business, because Lawyer Locate is basically a national business, but I can't advertise. I can't Google Map myself in every province, which drives me nuts. But as an example for lawyers and how we I don't know how you and I can maybe get them help. But for example, personal injury lawyers are allowed to practice across Canada. They're not restricted to one jurisdiction, where most categories of law, if you're in Ontario, you can only practice your criminal law in Ontario, your family law in Ontario, your civil litigation in Ontario. But personal injury lawyers can practice right across the country, so they can take cases anywhere in Canada. But they can't, unless they have a physical office in each of these major centers.
Yes.
Which some do, like the big boys do. There's a big law firm up here called Diamond and Diamond, and they're personal injury, and they do have locations in all these provinces. So they get the advantage of using Google Maps. Yeah. But everybody else virtually can practice. Why does Google not allow you to advertise yourself in the other geographies? That's my first question. 2, is there a workaround?
So I'm not sure about the restriction on advertising in other geographies, because theoretically, you can do a service area business where you don't have an address, and you could just set the service area as the country. And now, I don't know if that's how it works in Canada. I'm in the US.
No, what's happened up here with Google and Google Maps, that's the big one, was the only way you could get your Google Map, whatever they called, verified or whatever, you have to have photos of a physical office. You have to have photos of the physical front, the address. You can't use, like, for example, because of COVID, a lot of law firms went to satellite. So they work from home and they'd rent one of those, 3-hour satellite offices. Google won't accept that as an address. They say, no,
They're
that's
very
not your
strict.
physical address.
Very, very strict. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of people that spam. What they'll do is they'll, you know, from their, you have to look at it from their perspective too, because they're trying to fight all the spam. There's so much spam out there.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like, if it was easy, everybody's going to do the easiest thing. The easiest thing is, I'm a lawyer. I'm just going to pretend I have offices all over the country. That way I show up number one.
Right.
And that happens. That's a thing that they're fighting against. I know for a service area business, I believe because you're a service area, you might not have a physical location, and you should be able to get on Google Maps even as a service area. You shouldn't need
you and I will have to talk about that off air, because
we'll have to see.
I know Natalie has struggled with this for a long time, that we used to be able to have us show up in every province, and then they made this big change, and then all of a sudden, we only show up now well, we're not in Ontario anymore, we're in Alberta, so we only show up in Alberta, which is quite annoying.
Yeah. Something else that you can do, putting that aside, what you can do is you can have on your site, you can have dedicated service pages for all the provinces.
Which we do.
So then Google's also going to naturally pick that up, and it's going to, it should start pushing you towards the top if you service that area. And sometimes it'll do like a hybrid search result with a map type situation. So maybe you're not in the map pack at the top, which is possible, but you can end up in the organic results below.
Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit, but stay in the same vein. We're all Google. Okay, so we know in our industry, marketing and digital marketing, that there's beginning to be a big shift from Google to AI searches, whether it's ChatGPT, whether it's Claude, whatever. Do you think there's stuff that we can be telling lawyers that they need to start doing to be picked up by AI searches? Because I think people are really gravitating to it. I know by my own personal experience, I'm really started to shift away from Google for my personal stuff and for my business stuff, not for what I have to do for clients. I've been using ChatGPT search. I like it. I've learned how to filter out some of the noise. I've got some pretty strict prompts in my ChatGPT to try to weed out any of the nonsense that comes back sometimes, and the fantasy and all that. And that takes time and practice. I'm sure you say the same thing. But where do we go to help show these lawyers what they maybe need to adjust in their digital footprint to be picked up by AI searches?
Well, so what's changed, it's actually helped. So people complain, they say like AI, especially with the Google AI overview.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you guys have seen that, but so people are very upset about that, because it's like, well, they're stealing clicks from my site because I used to show up number one. Now it's an AI overview. I'm not in it. But actually there was just an article that came out this morning, and they did a test, and they were showing that it actually levels the playing field a little bit, because it used to be that the top dog would show up at the top of the result always, but now it's more of like a pack of 3 to 5 different sites or sources. So it kind of opens the opportunity for you guys to show up in those overviews and in ChatGPT as well, which is like a gift. I mean, that is literally a gift. I see it on my sites too, because I can watch people coming in and where they come from, and I can see ChatGPT results coming in, which is kind of cool. But sorry, I lost my train of thought. But
staying with this vein. So in simple terms, what would the changes you would recommend? Give me three top changes that a lawyer should do to help him show up on an AI search.
That's what I wanted to get to. You just need to provide helpful stuff. People are like, there's so much out there of like using AI content and, basically spamming the internet with AI content. And then you have to think of it from ChatGPT, all these platforms, from their perspective. They are now dealing with a flood of garbage that comes in. It's very easy for somebody to say, write me a blog post about XYZ slap it together, throw it on the website. Everybody's doing that.
Right.
So what you need to do, and what you should be focusing on, is really, I mean, first of all, that makes human content stand out even more. So make human content,
Right.
do good stuff, and really put together a good piece of content that helps solve the problem. It's the same thing I was saying before. It's all about helpful content that helps somebody solve a problem or whatever it is that they're looking for, because that is really what AI is looking for, is the context and the intent behind what somebody's looking at. So if you can match that intent, you can match the context that people are looking things up, you have a really good chance of showing up in search.
I agree, and you know what? We're getting near the end today, because we want to make sure we've got lots more to bring forward to everybody
We've got
that's
tons.
listening. I know we do have a ton, and we're going to format this out and as we go forward. So everybody, please like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this on. Lawyers, if you want to get more information directly from me, you can email me, mark@lawyerlocate.ca. I'm happy to answer your questions. I can refer you to Matt if you need to get a hold of Matt for any marketing and advertising type questions you might have. But this is the whole idea, is that Matt and I, like I said at the beginning of the show, we want to put together a program where we can reach out, or you can reach out to us, and we can guide you to increase your billable hours, increase your digital presence. And that's today, you know, digital presence is like the giant billboard at Times Square, except it's more effective than the giant billboard at Times Square. You know, and that's there's no mystery here. You know, there's no magic sauce. A lot of what we're going to teach you is, you're going to say, well, that's pretty common sense. It is, but it's getting you to do it is the trick. And, you know, starting small, like Matt and I said, grab a cell phone, grab an iPhone, whatever, you know, whatever smartphone you got, set it up. And you see a ton of, you're all online. You're all watching the same stuff we're watching. How many influencers, if they want to call them that, are using their iPhone in the front seat of their car? Yeah, that's the studio these days. You know, one of my clients, we've talked to him a couple times. He does a segment called The Rant for Fire Away, Stuart Redner, and he's done several of those, just sitting in his car and going off for like 3 to 5 minutes on a topic that's important and it's educational, and he calls it his rant. So there's all kinds of easy ways to get yourself into the video side of marketing your practice. And, you know, depending on what your practice areas are, you know, criminal lawyers, you know, you're not going to get too many people looking at for you in the library. Right. There are no more newspapers to really talk about. We've gone past that. We don't really have journalists anymore. All we've got are talking heads. So you have to try and be seen by as many people as you possibly can. Same with family law. And we keep coming back to the same place, the same simple soup. It's called video content. Matt, what do you think?
I agree. It's all about look, if you put your product being your services, in front of the right audience, you will get the sale. It's very simple.
Right.
You know, people are looking for specific information about, you know, if you specialize in speeding tickets, right? And like here in New York State, we have the point system. So, you know, you have a moving violation, you get
Same here.
points added to your license. They eventually come off after a couple of years, but eventually you could have your license suspended. People are looking that stuff up. You know, you can the easiest thing to do is to go into Google and look, or YouTube, and look at what the autocomplete populates with. You know, New York State points, license, look at what comes up, and then look at how many views those videos have, because without even looking, I'm sure that they've got tens of thousands of views. And it's because, again, it's helpful content, you're helping somebody out. And if you're explaining the point system, why you should pay your driver assessment fee right away, why you shouldn't wait, why you can, you know, how you can get points off your license by doing a course, whatever, pointing all those people back to your services, you'll get the sale. It's very simple. It's
Exactly.
just about putting out good content, helpful stuff, and not cutting corners, because everybody now, especially with AI, it's so easy to cut corners. And that's what everybody's going to do. So the way that you can stand out is by really focusing and putting together something useful for people. And that's it. Very
Perfect.
easy.
And at that point, I think we're pretty close to wrapping up today's episode. Matt, people want to get a hold of you. Let us know how they find you and how they can contact you.
Okay. Yeah, you could just I'll give you a link and you can put it down below if anybody wants to get in touch. I'll have my email address on there, and we'll keep it simple.
Perfect. And everybody else, I'd really appreciate it. Like and subscribe to our show. There's going to be a lot more valuable information coming in the coming months and weeks. We're going to look at a lot of different ways of getting information out to you. And again, it's a real pleasure having Matt with us to do this series of work. Matt's a friend, so that makes it a lot easier to work with him, and he can tolerate my nonsense. But everybody else out there, thanks so much for listening to the show. We hope you enjoy it. Please give us your comments. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you want from the show, what you want from Matt and I. We're happy to try and bend over backwards to accommodate you. Lawyers, again, Canadian lawyers, if you want to reach out directly to me, it's mark@lawyerlocate.ca. You can call me at 1-866-538-0376 at any time, and I'm happy to give you some help and some guidance. Everybody else, I hope you all have a great day, great week, great month. New Year's coming. Get ready for Christmas. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the LegalTube podcast. Ready to take your legal marketing to the next level? Our show delivers expert insights and practical advice to help you succeed in today's competitive legal landscape. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, this podcast is for you. For more information, check out LawyerLocate.ca. And if you have any questions, get in touch with us. Thanks for listening.